ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the Professional Bowlers Association tonight brings you the $125,000 Hammer Open from Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma. And here's a look at tonight's matches. A rookie, Jack Jurek, out of West Texas State, will bowl out of the number 5 slot against the aquatic one, Guppy Troop. In the number 3 slot, a television finalist last week, Kent Wagner. Bowling out of the number 2 position, it's two-time PBA champion Walter Ray Williams Jr. And Brian Voss will bowl out of the number 1 seed position tonight, looking for his first title since 1984. And there you see them, the contestants for the opening match, Jack Jurek and Guppy Troop. Troop, obviously, would like to get off to a very fast start. It's been a very difficult year for him.
And he's picked to finish or start, as he gives his wife Holly a quick kiss here for good luck to start off. He's picked to start on lane 33. The reason is that he's had a little bit more trouble with that lane. He's been hitting 34 much better. He wants to finish in the 10th frame on lane 34.
Opening shot of the opening match, championship pair here at Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma, lanes 33 and 34.
He was having trouble in practice, but as soon as they turn the lights on, he has a way of coming through.
Does that mean he's going to kiss Holly every time before he stands up on the approach?
Well, let's see. We get our first look at Jack Jurek, who earlier I said was a 2-time All-American at Wichita State, and here I've just moved to Texas, and he's from West Texas State. They're going to throw me out of the state here.
Well, Wichita State and West Texas State, two of the prominent powers in collegiate bowling. And imagine the nerves are running a little high, but guess what? Doesn't make much difference. The 1-3 pocket is all that Jack Jurek sees, and the match is all tied after the opening frame.
And Dan, as I watched him in practice, that's all he was doing in practice, is he was just throwing strike after strike after strike in practice. Very impressed with the style of this young man and the roll that he has on his ball. As the ball goes down the lane, you see the white emblem on it just picking up revs, and the ball just is a blur going down there.
On the week, Jack averaged 221.5, only 23 years of age, and this obviously his first ever appearance on national television.
Trying for an early double, and has it. Woo, that one held, didn't it?
Held and went flush, and I don't think there was any doubt whatsoever. Really a miracle of sorts that Jurek even made the telecast this evening, and we'll talk about that after this first replay.
High backswing, right at the peak of the backswing there. Good loft out on the lane. Look at the follow through, come straight up. And here it looks like the ball might go a little high, and it holds dead flush in the pocket. Guppy trying to even it up. And Guppy, when he gets it going, has as good a carry as anybody in the PBA Tour.
He will swish him around a little bit. Getting back to Jurek, though, last night, position round game, he was in the number 6 position, and trailing John Gant, had to beat him by 50 pins in the final game, the position round game, to make the telecast, and ended up winning by 60 pins, 208-148. So it's a blessing he's even here this evening.
John Gant had a horrendous 148 his last game,
and tried as hard as he could on every shot. Just got a little bit locked up and got into trouble. Both players with a double here in the opening match. The scores have been high this week. And once again, Guppy Troop with a bit of a swisher gets them all to roll around a little bit, and the 7-pin was the last to fall.
What's the old adage? Hit him thin and watch him spin?
Or is it hit him thin and watch him win?
Well, we're going to see him spin here if we can get Guppy out of the way. You watch the head pin. The head pin barely hits the 2, goes to the wall, and the pins just dance around, and they all go down.
Jack Jurek, unhappy with his grip. Steps off the approach, and that's a good sign.
Look at him taking the entire length of the approach. His heels are right on the edge. 5-step player. Very square. Good lift. Oh, that's impressive, Denny.
High game this week for Jack Jurek was 277. His low game was 146. Match play, 15-9 overall.
There we see 6 X's. Well, they're a third of the way there for that true value 25,000. Maybe it's a little too early to start talking about that.
Well, that's what you told me when we were talking about Jim Harvey in Tucson. He had the first 11.
A little extra time this frame. More room. He just got careful with that, Dan. Mentally inside, he just wasn't ready to throw that shot. and he couldn't make himself execute it the way he should.
Jack asked it to hurry as he let it go, so immediately when the ball left his hand, he had a feeling that it wasn't going to quite get there.
He just knew he hadn't gotten the proper lift with the fingers. Has a relatively easy spare. Don't put the kiss of death on him here. Miss it on the 2-pin. He throws his ball fairly straight at most of the spares as I was watching him practice. He throws straight at that 2-pin. Never a doubt.
No hesitation whatsoever for the 23-year-old who prepped and played his collegiate bowling at West Texas State. But as Guppy Troop steps up in the 4th, he leads by 1. We'll be back with more right after this.
This is Guppy Troop's last shot to take the lead. We see his reaction here. He's saying, hold solid. He lets him know about it, doesn't he?
For a guy who didn't want to come and play this week, he's kind of pumped up.
He's kind of into it. I know how pumped up Guppy Troop can get. Back around 1979, I bowled him in Fresno, California, and shot 268 against him and didn't win.
Oh, my.
I tied, but I didn't win.
Well, he's 21-17 overall on national television with an average of better than 217. We need to focus our attention now on young Jack Jurek, and he answers the call. Praise for the flush hit and gets it. Big strike in the 7th for Jurek.
Even a bigger frame coming up for him in the 8th, though. He's down by 9 pins. He can't let Guppy Troop have the chance to get too far ahead of him. He must strike here to keep the heat on Troop.
Jack Jurek's goals, a couple of them, to be named PBA Player of the Year and also to win his first PBA title.
I like those goals.
And a trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. One of the outstanding young professionals on the PBA National Tour. Didn't like it at all, and I don't know why not. Shaking his head, no, no, no. But, Mike, it was 10 in the pit.
His family sure liked it, I'll tell you that much. There's his brother. It looks like his biggest cheerleader right there.
Brother Tom. And, of course, his parents, Jerry and Eileen, flying in from near the Buffalo area. As a matter of fact, we'll be there in just a couple of weeks. So if he makes the show, they'll just drive over. Guppy Troop trailing by 1 and looking for a turkey here in the 8th.
To take the lead back. Oh! I don't know why those pins do that when Troop is throwing the ball, but they seem to do it. Let's see if we can see what hits what here. The ball comes in high. The 2-pin, 3rd from the left, goes to the wall, comes back and misses the 7. I don't know what that pin was that came flying over and hit the 7. But Troop's watching it. And we thought he got excited on the last shot.
He is trying to calm himself down, I think, a little bit right now.
Absolutely.
Mike, that's detrimental at times to get too excited.
I never wanted to do that on the first shot when I didn't have the time to sit down when the other bowler was bowling the 2 frames, because I didn't have enough time to get that heartbeat back down.
Troop now leading by 9 and trying to strike in the foundation frame of the 9th. He likes it, and for good reason. For a second, looked like in his mind he might have thrown it a little bit wide, but these two professionals have really got the fans here at Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma, stoked up early, as they say.
And the situation that we have right now, Jack Jurek's in a must-strike situation. He's has a potential 259 if he would strike all the way out, going at a 229 pace right now. 229 pace right now. He's down by 19. Heels hanging off the back end there. He's been perfect on this right lane. Needs to be one more time. Oh! Well, this kid can answer the bell, can he?
How would you like to be Kent Wagner right now? He is bowling out of the number 3 seed position, and he is waiting in the wings, watching nothing but the X's on lanes 33 and 34.
Well, all you can say is, hey, I'm glad they're shooting it against them and not me. And there we see. Right now, Jurek down by 9 pins, the 169 to 178. This is to take the lead back to get this first one in the 10th. And he is certainly, we said he was going to face his baptism of fire tonight, and he's answering the challenge. See how he performs in the 10th frame with the pressure on. Can't throw it any better than that, Denny.
I talked to him just before the telecast, Mike, and I said, I realize this is your first appearance on national television, Jack, but have you ever bowled on national television or on television before? And he said, yes, the national championships I did, and also when I was in Australia. I said, how did you react? He said, fine. I never really had much of a problem whatsoever, and I'm not really that nervous here this evening. And his bowling is beginning to speak for itself. Possible 259 should he go off the sheet.
Just look at this, though. I mean, he takes the glasses off. He wipes his forehead. He does a lot of things that shows he has a lot of experience. He's not in any big rush to get up on that approach. He's getting himself under control before he makes this very important shot, leading by 1 to make it 11. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, I like this young man.
Jack Jurek with his 9th strike of the match. And now we'll head over and discuss mathematics with Harry Golden and also Chuck Pisano.
And there it is. You cannot throw the ball any better than that under pressure. His game, his solid game, has come to the forefront under the pressure. He reminds me, just looking at him, on actions and the way, almost physical appearance of Mike Albee.
Oh, they've got one on the left side now. How'd you like to have one on the right?
And just something didn't feel right. He pulled his hand out of the ball, puts it down. He's putting a little air into that ball just to get, maybe it's a little perspiration or something. To have the composure to walk over and check that score your first time on national television.
It's a little frightening. Possible 259 if he takes it off the sheet, and he does. Big, big game for Jack Jurek, who gets a marvelous round of applause.
Well, he's done his job. He had 12 shots and threw 10 strikes and shot 259, and he can lose. And believe me, this man can do it. I told you I shot 268 and did not win. Guppy's troop has to have 2 strikes in the 10th frame to win this match.
Professional bowlers live and die in the 10th frame. And there you see the graphic. 2 strikes and also some count to win and advance into the second match.
And we've just had score after score like this all summer long. Come down to the 10th frame no matter what's big score or little score.
Been a marvelous summer for bowling on ESPN. Troop trying to answer the call. He's down on one knee, and he's got the big strike. First shot in the 10th.
Well, somebody's going to lose with 250.
That's a shame.
That is a shame. And he wants a re-rack. He doesn't like the rack.
Now, is he buying time at this point, Mike, or do you think he really doesn't like the rack?
I think he really doesn't like the rack. No, I don't think he's buying time. We see it there, and it looks like maybe the 3 pin's a little into the left there, and he's worried about a 10.
It's amazing that the professionals, with the eyesight that they have, if a pin's just a touch, maybe even a 1/4 of an inch off spot, they can detect that.
Well, sometimes it's a little paranoia, too. You can see solid 10s on good racks sometimes.
You can see the solid 10 before you throw the shot? Mike, you never did that.
No.
Well, Troop obviously needs this one to win match number 1, Jack Jurek. Concentrating on lane 34, as is Guppy Troop. This is the shot of the match. Lets it go and likes it. And swishes the rack for a big, big double in the 10th, and Troop is beside himself.
I'll tell you, if he keeps going like that for 4 games, we're going to have to get the paramedics in here.
I wonder what his blood pressure is right now. Probably somewhere around 268 beats per minute, which is what he's going to shoot if he strikes here in the 10th. Or I should say the final shot, the 12th.
And if he strikes on this, both players wind up with 10 strikes, and he just keeps it on the lane.
And he'll take 7. A handshake, and what a marvelous opening match here in the $125,000 Hammer Open. There's the score, 265, 259. Those two professionals certainly putting on a superb show, and Jack Jurek shaking hands with his father and his brother. You can't do much better than he did, shooting 259 in his opening chance on national television. It wasn't quite good enough. 45 through his first 2 games in the championship round this evening.
And what did Guppy say his goal was now? Is to stay married to the same woman? Is that what he said?
Yes,
his goal was?
He didn't tell me how long he was going to stay married, but he said that was what was important to him. First shot right through the old nose, and was very fortunate to escape with less than a split.
He's very loose and relaxed again starting this match. Walter Ray, though, is not loose and relaxed. Walter Ray is a competitor.
He's tough as nails, too.
Tough as horseshoes, huh?
Uh-huh.
And no problem.
Guppy Troop is yet to miss a spare this evening, and that's very important in championship round play.
You have to have an open of any kind.
Walter Ray Williams Jr., 26 years of age, bowling out of Stockton, California. 6'2", 172 pounds. Made $54,000 last year. This year, over $100,000 for the first time in his career. Here's first shot, a little wide, comes back, and Walter Ray opens with a strike on lane 34.
And Walter Ray is using a very straight hand release here, playing the ball just down and a little break at the end. That's the result right now.
Walter Ray, as I chatted with him before the televised finals this evening, told me that he struggled a little on this pair in tournament play. Averaged only 195, shot a 166 game and a 224 game. So he's, I don't think, coming into this with a lot of confidence. However, lanes change every day, and obviously they're probably different today than they were in the tournament.
What amazes me about Walter is his ability to vary his speeds and do well as he stuffs the first two shots. What I mean by that is that he has learned to, when he needs to, he can throw it hard. And when he needs to, he can throw it slow. And he's been successful with both ways. He's learned to throw the ball straight, learned to hook it. It's amazing what he's learned to do in a very short time out here.
And that's why he's number 3 on the money list.
And could go to number 1 tonight.
Yep. I think Guppy's sensing that if he doesn't get out of the gate in a hurry here this evening in the semifinal match, Mike, it could be sayonara.
Those kisses won't keep knocking the pins down forever.
I like your style myself. I should mention this right now. Before the telecast started this evening, I told Guppy if he won tonight, I would quick change into a pair of his pants for the trophy presentation. And boy, I hope I don't have to eat my words.
Well, you're not rooting against it, though.
No. Oh, well, I look funny with a pair of those checkered pants on, though.
What I want to know is, are you going to change right here on the stage?
That could be interesting.
And Guppy gets the 8-pin out.
Beautiful double by Guppy Troop, who answered the challenge. And you really have to do that on the PBA National Tour, don't you, Mike? When a player steps up and doubles, you better come right back and strike just to show them that it's going to be a long, tough match.
That's why I retired.
Yeah, they'll send you home in a hurry. Walter Ray Williams Jr., one of the rising young stars. Very strong and very agile and extremely accurate bowler.
Well, he has that natural accuracy that comes from pitching horseshoes. Takes a re-rack. We see his swing here. Now watch the swing as it comes back in. It kind of comes back and then out to the right. See it right there out. Now he brings it back in. There's his next to last step. And he brings it back in. You're nice and close and right straight through it and right over about the 8th board. And his left arm is almost touching his right arm. Look at it. It's all the way behind him there.
I think
Palmer Falgren used to do that a little bit.
The thing that's interesting to me too, Mike, is if you watch his head action, he really juts his head when he lets the ball go. It's amazing he can see his mark.
His head does not stay level like some players. Ooh, the 4, 6, 7.
Well, just as we were discussing that marvelous arm swing, up jumps a big split.
Right through the heart of the pins and no break. And breaking up the split. You expect to get something like this when you hit that zone, but you hope that you'll break it up. He didn't. Walter Ray can throw hard, and I'm assuming that that's what he'll do here. Just fire hard at the 4-7 and hope something bounces around. And that's what he's done. But it didn't bounce around, and he's open and falls behind.
For the first time this evening, he finds himself behind by 6 pins. Guppy Troop working on a double. Would love to strike in the 4th. We'll be back with more right after this.
To stay somewhere else.
You see it, Guppy's first championship round appearance of the year, and he's taking full advantage of it.
He says, I don't get here often. I got to win. He's up by 5 pins right now. Wants to make it 15 with 1 more here.
Won his last title a year ago, capturing the Austin Open. But led that one from wire to wire. Shot a 300 in the first game and just never looked back.
Then he shot 180 on television and won the tournament.
Did he really?
Yes.
180. Looking for 3 in a row. Thumps it out there, and it's a solid strike for Guppy Troop.
Get a ground level shot of Guppy Troop. His hand release here. Fingers rotating from about 5 just about to 4. Not much turn. Not the lift that you see with some of the power players. Kind of a little pitter-pat there. But he gets the ball rolling, and he certainly gets good reaction.
So many ways to strike. He's done that this evening. Had 9 strikes, make that 10 X's in the opening game.
More lift on that one, and leaves the soft 10. It increased the speed a little bit, but he actually lifted that ball harder than he did the other one. So you don't have to have that power lift in order to get the strikes. Watch the ball. It's going to deflect to the right. See it deflect here? And the 6-pin just nudges off into the channel. Doesn't have the power to come back out and hit the 10. Uh-oh. Oh, he's got it. No problem. He wasn't worried.
He took a good long look just to make sure it would stay on the lane. This is Walter Ray Williams' 7th appearance in the championship round this year. That's tops among the PBA pros.
Right. That's fantastic. 7 appearances in the top 5 in 1 year.
And consider this, there are 9 tournaments left. I should say 8. Trying to come right back, and he does.
And we find the same thing happening. Kent Wagner hit lane 34 and struggled on lane 33. When he had his choice, he chose to finish there. And Walter Ray Williams Jr. has struggled a little bit on lane 33. As we see his finish here, watch his head kind of lift up as he comes through, and he grimaces. And look at that left arm.
That's great if you're trying to scratch your back. Oh my, whatever prompted me to say that. Trails by 14, but could cut the lead to 4 with a clutch double here on lane 33. He likes it. He's got it. Big shot for Walter Ray.
Just one errant shot so far for Walter Ray Williams.
And it's cost him dearly because Troop turkeyed 2nd, 3rd, and 4th frames. Working on a spare now, though. And no, don't start to adjust the color on your television set. Those pants really are 2 different colors. My old high school colors, Firestone High School in Akron, Ohio, the green and gold.
I don't think you're going to get him to get out of them, though, to let you get in them.
I doubt it.
A little tight in the pocket, but it carried.
Sort of fitted that shot in there. High and flush. Ball seemed to hold just at the last second and just enough for the big strike.
Well, that's what we say, the old frozen rope shot, and we see the difference here. Troop up by 4. 3 frames to go, or 4 frames to go. Needs to increase it to 14 here because Walter Ray will probably keep striking.
Interesting to note, Walter Ray looking right at the foot of the approach, not watching Guppy Troop at all. Troop trying to double in the 7th.
Oh, the first solid 10 we've seen by anybody. We've had a few weak ones, but that's the first solid 10.
It's amazing, Mike. I was here throughout the entire tournament, watched all 6 rounds. Very few solid 10s this week. When the pros hit the pocket here at Boulevard Bowl, the pins normally went down.
Bad break there for Troop. He left the soft 10 in the 6th frame, or the 5th frame, and the solid 10 in the 7th frame. Makes them both.
Spares up by Walter Ray Williams, pondering a turkey at this point. Will have to come back and strike if he hopes to take over the lead. Walter Ray Williams trailing by 4, but Mike, he's on a double shooting in the 7th.
Can take the lead with a strike here, and he hasn't missed lane 34 yet.
And this is no time to start. Marvelous talent, as Mike mentioned. 4 times the finest horseshoe pitcher in the world. It's not easy.
He's the defending champion. Oh, he's there. You know, he put on, as he gets one more and takes the lead, he put on a little demonstration exhibition for the people here out in the parking lot, set up 2 portable posts, you know, and threw ringer after ringer after ringer after ringer.
It's amazing. The horseshoe makes 1 revolution, and it's always wide open as it hits that post. If he doesn't get the ringer, he hits the post.
It's kind of like my ball, 1 revolution.
Right, it was 1 revolution and then 6 or 7 pins. No, but it really is. If you ever get a chance to watch him pitch those horseshoes, and if you ever pitched him yourself, you know how difficult that really is. Right now he's trying to pitch it into the old 1-3 pocket. Leads by 6, could extend it to 16. He likes it, and unfortunately the 10-pin didn't.
Keeps the match really interesting.
Would he have a little more speed on that shot, Mike,
Just
that
a
time, do you
freckle.
think?
The adrenaline, yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking, Danny. The adrenaline was flowing. He threw it just a freckle harder, and it hit half pocket.
This championship round, not for the faint of heart.
And Walter Ray has a unique way of shooting spares. He uses, most of the time, just his ring finger and the thumb, and throws the ball straight at it. Takes his middle finger out of the ball, out of the hole, and the ball goes straight. And he's had great success in making spares that way.
Gary Dickinson
Uses the middle finger,
right,
and takes his ring finger out.
And I think, are those the only two players on the national tour that shoot spares in that fashion?
And the only two to my knowledge right now, yes.
And two very good spare shooters.
There may be some more trying that.
Yep, it works.
Troop in the 8th frame on lane 34, trailing by 5 pins. Actually, it looked like he threw that ball just a freckle wider than he had, and he got what we call the overreaction. The ball hooked a little quick and set up for the 4-pin.
It appeared he knew it all the way as soon as he let it go.
He was hoping, as we watch the 2-pin, third from the left, goes to the wall and gets the 7, but misses the 4. If he makes this, he's down by 6 pins with 2 frames to go. So again, it's going to come down to what we see almost every week. The player who can perform in that 9th and 10th frame is going to win. No trouble.
Mike, what's going through Guppy's mind? He's left the 10-pin the last 2 shots on lane 33. What kind of an adjustment does he make there?
The only adjustment he makes is that he just knows he has to strike here. It's a feeling that you get in after you've had so many of these competitions, so many of these match games. He's in the situation. He knows he has to strike here in the 9th frame to set himself up for the 10th if he wants to go on and bowl and try and win another PBA title in the championship game. Should
Guppy strike out, he would shoot 238. Should Walter Ray strike out, 244. Crucial shot in the 9th. He stood up a little bit on it, right through the nose, Mike, and was very fortunate not to split.
And for the first time in 3 matches, Guppy Troop has not responded to the pressure. Every other time in that situation, he responded positively to the pressure. This time, he made a poor shot.
Left that same 3-6 in the first frame. As our statistician Chuck Pierce points out, nice to have Chuck back. He was gone the last couple of weeks working the junior bowling camps, instructing.
No trouble. Even though he looked a little worried, never a doubt.
So the best Guppy Troop now could shoot if he struck out in the 10th would be 226. And right now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. of Stockton, California, after a re-rack, could really put some heavy pressure on Guppy Troop.
He gets a strike in the 9th and the first one in the 10th, and Troop is going to be history. He needs some kind of double, either in the 9th and 10th or a spare in the 9th and 2 in the 10th.
Walter Ray with a high game this week of 300, one of the 7 perfect games tossed by the pros this week.
There's the first one. One more, and he's going to be a winner.
Walter Ray averaging 227.6 for his 42 games this week. And in the process, even though Dave Husted made the finals and finished 23rd, Walter Ray has retaken the 1986 PBA average lead by just a fraction.
Got an interesting battle going on there, too.
My.
As we did last year with Mark Baker and Marshall Holm.
Didn't it go down to the final week?
The final game.
Oh, jeez. That's close.
For the win. Oh, you can't throw it any better. That's the difference between Walter Ray now and Walter Ray maybe a year ago. He just knows, he has that confidence, that inner feeling that he can respond to these situations, and he does.
I think the players on the tour are beginning to realize more and more what a competitor, and his ability to concentrate. Walter Ray Williams in the future going to be a very tough customer on the PBA tour.
You don't become a world champion at anything without the ability to concentrate.
You know, it's almost as if you've been groomed for that pressure by competing in those world championships, and he is just throwing it right in the pocket, the old daddy lockup strike. Handshake from Guppy Troop, who just realized, hey, I got outbowled.
Walter Ray made one errant shot. He had the 1 ball high in the 4th frame, paid the full penalty, and left one of the 10 pin. If he strikes here, he's going to wind up with 10 strikes and 244.
Just one open. That one came in the 4th. Other than that, he has just lived in the pocket.
One more, dead flush. Brian Voss better have his strike clothes on.
Oh, I'm sure he does. He's the top seed player, Mike Derlin. He's worked hard all week. He's going to be ready to bowl that title match. Guppy Troop wasting no time in filling out. 10 strikes for Walter Ray Williams Jr. 244, a big game in the semifinal match. And with that victory, Mike assured himself of retaking the PBA money lead. He can do no worse now than to grab the top spot, winning $9,500 if he doesn't win the championship.
But Walter Ray's thinking is right, and he's not content with just taking the lead by a few $100s. He wants to win his third title and put himself $9,000 or $10,000 in the lead in the money and really thrust himself to the forefront as the candidate for Bowler of the Year.
Guppy Troop with a trick shot, but it's not quite enough. As in the semifinal game, Walter Ray Williams Jr. comes up with a 244-212 victory. And Brian Voss is coming up next. The top-seeded player, Brian Voss, out of Tacoma, Washington. Brian Voss will start on lane 33.
And he looks a little uptight to me.
I think he realizes the pressure is going to be on from the get-go. Opening shot.
Oh, and another solid 10. Haven't been many, but he starts out with one.
Brian comes back with a half smirk on his face, and I think in the back of his mind he's thinking, holy cow, I couldn't throw it any better than that.
And you watch this 6-pin, second from the right, as the ball enters flush into the 1-3 pocket, and that 6. How did it miss it?
A wraparound 6. Never even touched it.
Straight at the 10-pin. No hook at all, as most of the pros on the PBA Tour do.
All right, Mike, who has the advantage? Walter Ray, because he's just coming off a big game, big 244 game, and is lined up on the pair, or Brian Voss?
There's no doubt in my mind that Walter Ray has the advantage right now. He's loose, he's relaxed, he's confident, no nerves. He's ready to go. And he gets the 10-pin to fall. The wind knocked it over.
It's one of those swirling 10s. Walter Ray with 10 strikes in his opening victory over Guppy Troop.
Solid, and watch the 10-pin. It just nicked it. Same as Brian Voss, but the head of the 6-pin just nicked the middle of that 10-pin to knock it over.
Just a fraction between striking and leaving solid pins. Walter Ray to open up with a double, and he does. He is just solid as a rock right now. And Brian Voss, I think, very much aware of the fact that if he doesn't get off to a very quick and early start here, could be in very serious trouble by the 5th or 6th frame. Voss, 5'10", 160 pounds. Last year, won better than 45,000. This year, nearly 60,000. He's having a very solid year. Right back with a strike of his own. And Brian Voss, after leading from the 3rd round all the way to the end of this tournament, is not going to give up easily.
He picked a finish on lane 34. The only player that did that has done that so far. Most of them picked a finish on 33, but he feels he can step up and throw that double in the 10th frame to win on lane 34 if he has to.
Brian winning 15 of 24 match games this week. Shot 349 over for 8 games on Monday night, the opening round of match play, and that's where he vaulted into the lead. Looking for the double.
Oh, 2 bad breaks. I mean, he threw everything but the kitchen sink at that 7-pin.
Somebody nailed it down. Wow. That is about as tough a break as you'll get in a championship match. Just thrashed the rack. Pins dancing all around the 7. Never touched it.
And as I say, we have a changing of the guard, even though these two are established players. Voss is 27 and Walter Ray is 26. With solid games, they could be around for the next 10 years or better.
Well, as we mentioned, Guppy was the oldest player on the telecast at 36.
And we
Jack Jurek, only 23.
We teased Guppy about it, too.
Oh, yeah. All in good fun. He is a joy to watch bowl. Really an entertainer. And here's a hardcore blue-collar worker. Walter Ray with a half hit, couldn't coax the 10.
That keeps Brian Voss in the game, though. And that's what Brian is thinking right now as he's sitting there. At least he stopped striking. Is all he's thinking. You know, I've gotten 2 bad breaks, but he stopped striking. I'm still in the match.
Brian has bowled out of the top seeded position 3 times in his career, Mike, and he's won 2 out of the 3.
He's had favorable results there. You see the middle finger out and the ring finger in, cross lane at the 10 pin. That's how you make it.
It's almost a backup ball, Mike.
Well, you don't have to throw a hook to knock that 10 pin down, Dan.
And it's the old adage, too. You don't have to throw the ball as hard, I think, as some people do at times to knock down the pins. Sometimes it's better just to get a good solid roll. You get better pin action.
As Walter Ray takes a re-rack on lane 33. Takes another look at it. Likes this one.
Walter Ray winning his first PBA championship earlier this winter, came back and led the next tournament and lost a very tough match to Mark Baker. A very capable young player.
Ooh, right back in there.
A solid strike in the 4th for Walter Ray Williams Jr. He's working at this point with 69 in the 3rd, and he leads by 9. Brian Voss will have to step up and try and double in the 4th and the 5th.
The top.
Brian Voss in the 4th, trailing by 9.
Through the heart of the pins, leaves the 6-10, and Brian Voss is in trouble.
Obviously his worst shot of the match. It hit the pocket the first 3 frames and was a bit unlucky, had only 1 strike. But that obviously not the kind of effort he needs to beat Walter Ray Williams Jr.
He's going to have 220, 230, I think, to beat Walter Ray. Cross lane 6-10, can't afford any errors here. Has it.
Of the television finalists, Mike, Brian Voss compiled the highest average during match play on the championship pair. Had games of 235 and 269, average 252 on lanes 33 and 34.
But you get off to a start where you go 10-pin strike, 7-pin like that, it can have a negative input into your mind. And you just start thinking wrong, and the game is too short. You can't allow yourself to do that in a 1-game match. You can get away with that over a 6-game block or a tournament sometimes, but not in a 1-game match. He's got to get something going, and does.
Walter Ray will step up in the 5th, working on a strike, leading by 11.
Walter Ray, from all of his competitive experience with horseshoes and everything, has that ability to put his opponent away, to put them to sleep when they need to be put to sleep.
He manufactured some marvelous shots in the 9th and the 10th to close Guppy Troop out in the semifinal match.
For the double, up by 21, 1 more, make it 31, and Walter Ray just smells the victory. You can just see it. It's written all over his body English. It's written all over his face. He's in total command halfway through this championship game.
Should he win this evening, that would be his 3rd title of 1986. He would be the leading money winner, the leading average candidate, and you would have to say in the race for Bowler of the Year, he would have nudged himself just about a neck ahead of the rest of the crew.
He would be, he'd get my vote at that stage.
Well, if they stopped it after this tournament, you're right.
Not over yet, though. Just didn't get the lift on that one that he got on the previous one.
But he liked it, Mike. He ran it out, so in his mind, he probably thought he threw a pretty good shot.
Walter Ray will run out a lot of things.
What's that, the old fake out shot? Try and psych your opponent out? Yeah. Oh, I like that comment. That was a classic. Did you used to run out many?
I was never sure of him.
Yeah, sure. Anybody that wins a Firestone 3 times has obviously been pretty sure about things through the years.
Brian Voss down by 20, but then if he can step up here and strike on lane 34 and strike on lane 33, he can get himself even the match. I think this is the most important shot that Brian Voss has thrown all week long right now.
Tossed it right through the nose on the right-hand lane his last trip. Let's see if he makes the adjustment.
He threw it wider. Oh, it hit the 8-pin, wanted to stand, but it fell over.
I think the ball hit it twice.
We're going to get a look at it here. Brian Voss gets it well out of the lane this time. A little right of that 2nd arrow, and you can see from right now as the ball's arcing that it's going to be flush in the 1-3 pocket. Watch the 8-pin. And was that the hip pin that nicked it?
No, I think the ball did.
Well, something nicked it. It fell over anyway. I'll have to see it again in order to even the match, though, right now.
I guess you could say that was a good break. He's had very few.
Looks good. Oh, it is good. We got a match.
Guess what? This one is dead solid even after that big strike in the set.
This one, carbon copy of the one before, only the 8-pin doesn't even hesitate here.
8-pin was double teamed that time. Mr. High and Mr. Low.
And we'll see how Walter Ray now responds to somebody putting the pressure on him. Ooh, the light hit rips that 5 over into the 7.
Now that was just the dice-o-matic.
The dice-o-matic.
Wow. Pins were dancing on the deck.
And we have 3 frames to go, and we're all even. So this is what it's all about. We keep saying that over and over. We don't want to be redundant. But
I don't know about you, but I've moved to the edge of my seat
to take the lead. Oh, what a break! What a break!
That 4-pin right out. And where in the world did that break come from?
And Walter Ray backs off the approach. The ball goes high. Watch the 2-pin. 3rd from the left goes to the wall and hits both the 4 and the 7. Big break.
That's
Absolute
like working overtime. That could have ended up a split, Mike.
How will that affect Brian Voss and how he throws this next shot in the 8th frame?
Working on a turkey. And down by 10.
Good loft. Oh, it's high, and that's going to do it. The 6, 7, 10, 6, 7, 9, 10. It's makeable. He has to make the split. What you do is you have to hit that 6-pin on the right. It flattens out, nicks the 9, and they go across and get the 7. It's a definite makeable split.
And that's his only chance right at this moment. Title on the line for Brian Voss. He has it! Oh my! And they're standing on their feet as Voss comes up with a marvelous conversion.
Watch it hit the 6-pin on the right. Watch what the 6 does with the 9. It flicks in front of the 9 and goes across and hits the 7. Perfect.
Mike, you described that as if you'd made it before. Is it really that difficult?
Well, they're all, any split is difficult, you know, but that is definitely a lot easier than the 6-7.
Well, they lost some count on that too, didn't
He lost some count, plus he was already down 10. He's down 14 pins now heading into the 9th frame. Must strike here to set himself up for the 10th.
Walter Ray Williams has to be thinking to himself, how in the world did he ever convert that? Big shot in the 9th.
Oh, and he trips the 4. Keeps himself alive, but Walter Ray has his fate in his own hands.
This is a shootout in Oklahoma right now, Mike Durbin.
Walter Ray going at a 2:28 pace right now. The best Brian Voss can get is 2:34. If Walter Ray strikes here and keeps a decent count in the 10th, he's going to win. Easier said than done, though.
Boy, this has been something this evening.
Very little time. Light gets away, leaves it just the 2-pin, keeps the count up there. Walter Ray, that for the first time in the 2 games, felt the pressure on that shot. Just did not get the lift that he wanted to. He's looking at that score, figuring it out. What he needs to do is convert this 2-pin. It'll be interesting to see if he shoots this with just 2 fingers like he has been. And he does. He takes that middle finger out. Even under this extreme pressure, he's going to throw it with 2 fingers at this spare. And he makes it easily. If he doubles in the 10th frame and gets 8, if my calculations are right, he will shut out Brian Voss.
He would shoot 235. The best Voss could come up with a turkey in the 10th would be 234. But a double and 8 is easier said than done when a title is on the line.
And maybe bowler of the year. Whew.
And this is what they hold the tournaments for, Mike.
Very little time. Looks good. Boy, he threw that well.
Brian Voss taking a good hard look at the AMF Magic score right above the television pair. He obviously knows what the score is at this point, and should Walter Ray strike here and come up with 8, and then he will have captured his 3rd title in 1986.
It's out of Brian Voss's hands. He says yes, and it is yes. Boy, you can hear Walter Ray all the way across the building.
Boy, his intensity, concentration, unbelievable.
Quite a contrast to Guppy Troop, isn't it?
Oh, my.
He wants a re-rack. He wants a re-rack on the fill ball. He needs 8. He knows it. He wants to hit that puck. He doesn't want any 4-9. Well, even a 4-9 to be a winner.
Sure, at this point, just 8. 8 is enough. Out of Stockton, California.
That's going to be enough. He has it, 237. He's won his 3rd title of the year and is the leading money winner.
I want to congratulate you all on a fine job of bowling from Fab Ball, the home of the Hammer.
Thank you.